And now it's time for our Honorable Mentor Award. This award recognizes a man who has demonstrated a long-term commitment to advancing women in the workforce, is dedicated to developing, mentoring, and promoting women, and is supportive of the HBA's mission. Nomination criteria include validation of the individual's dedication to mentoring and sponsorship, as well as input from proteges speaking firsthand of the impact the honoree has had on their career. Here to introduce this year's honoree, please welcome Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla.
Hello, everyone. I was thrilled to be asked to say a few words about my good friend and colleague, Rod MacKenzie. Throughout his career, Rod has been a tireless supporter of advancing women in the workforce. He has demonstrated this commitment in multiple ways, including being a thoughtful and caring mentor to several female colleagues, serving as the executive leadership team sponsor for Pfizer's Global Women's Council, and being a leader with the HBA Gender Parity Collaborative. At Pfizer, we have 4 values that guide the way we approach our work, and Rod's approach to mentoring and leadership embodies each. Our first value is courage, because breakthroughs favor the bold. We need to be bold to lead global product development and regulatory affairs at a company whose breakthrough medicines and vaccines impact hundreds of millions of lives around the world. But we also need to be bold if we are going to change the way a company, and in fact, an entire industry, approaches something as critical as gender parity. Rod has been having courageous conversations about this topic for as long as I have known him, and it is no coincidence that Pfizer recently earned an A grade from Arjuna Capital Proxy Impact on their 2020 racial and gender pay scorecard. Our second value is excellence, because we can change patients' lives only when we are performing at our best. Rod's commitment to excellence was evident early in his career when he co-invented Enablex, a drug used to treat symptoms of an overactive bladder. Nearly 2 decades later, his excellence in leadership helped deliver a breakthrough COVID-19 vaccine in less than a year. While the vaccine is having a profound impact on global health, his commitment to excellence is having an equally profound impact on those who work more closely with him. As his longtime Chief of Staff, Sue Anderson, said in her nomination letter, "You can poll Rod's direct reports past and present, and they will tell you that they are better leaders and managers because of his investment in them, because he asks the right questions, and because he challenges them to think more boldly and differently." Our third value is equity, because every person deserves to be seen, heard, and cared for. At Pfizer, this means making sure diversity, equity, and inclusion are part of our DNA and culture. And here again, Rod is walking the talk. One of the things he's most proud of is the fact that Pfizer's development leadership team has a 50-50 split between male and female leaders, which unfortunately is unusual for such a scientific and technical division. This diversity is no accident. Rod insists on diverse slates in hiring, especially for promotions and positions at the VP level and above. And he urges that a female candidate be among finalists for roles. He has zero patience for "there was no qualified women available" arguments. His commitment to equity also can be seen in the work Pfizer is doing to ensure that the participants in our clinical trials reflect the racial and ethnic demographics of the countries and communities in which we conduct our trials. Our fourth and final value is joy, because we give ourselves to our work, and it also gives to us. Rod learned this lesson during his days as a student at the University of Glasgow, when he first fell in love with organic chemistry and the thrill of inventing something that could help others. Today, Rod takes great pride not only in developing breakthrough medicines and vaccines that change patients' lives, but in being the kind of mentor that changes colleagues' lives, particularly the female professionals he has worked so hard to champion. For all these reasons, it is my pleasure to welcome to the stage the HBA's 2021 Honorable Mentor and my good friend, Dr. Rod MacKenzie.
Well, thank you, Albert, for those very kind words. I could not be more grateful to the HBA for this great honor, nor can I think of a more appropriate person to introduce me for the award, because pushing people to think big and helping them to realize what they're capable of are really critical traits of any effective mentor. And over the past year, Albert has masterfully done both of those things in leading Pfizer's successful efforts to deliver a breakthrough COVID-19 vaccine in record time. Now, when Laurie told me that I'd been selected to receive this honor, it was so unexpected and so meaningful that it moved me to tears, because I've always been in awe of the people on the stage at the Wody lunch, and it had literally never crossed my mind that I could be one of them. So it's my honor today to share the stage with our star awardee, Susan Torruella, and our Woman of the Year, Dr. Sandra Horning. So let me start by speaking to all of the amazing women of the HBA. You are changing the world, and I want to give you a powerful and profound example. Last year, as we at Pfizer worked on our COVID-19 vaccine, our mantra was science will win. Well, we all know the outcome now, and it was better than any of us had dared to hope for. So I'm proud to say to you today that science is winning, and this pandemic will be defeated. But what you may not know, and I'm especially proud to tell you, is that many outstanding women led the way in bringing Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine to the world. Among them, two of our 2021 HBA luminaries, Katherine Jansen and Sarah Tweedy, and our 2017 HBA luminary, Marie-Pierre Helio. But also Angela Huang, Nanette Cicero, Judy Absalon, Alejandra Gutman, and Helen Smith. All of them, and so many more, are women who are saving the world, and I could not be prouder of all of them. It's been my privilege to mentor and learn from so many talented women over the years. So I've heard firsthand the barriers that you have to overcome in your careers, barriers that I did not have. So how do we overcome these barriers? Well, there's plenty of advice out there. Many books have been written about leadership and how to succeed that are directed specifically to women. Interestingly, I can't find a single one that is targeted specifically at men, and that alone tells a tale. And a lot of the advice I see targeted to women comes from other successful women, and that seems to make sense, but too often it tells women how they need to change to succeed within the existing corporate culture. A culture, let's not forget, that was very likely created by men and has been sustained still to this day mostly by men. And so as pragmatic and well-intentioned and even as effective as this advice to women can be, I believe it's ultimately self-defeating if it compromises who you are. That's a trade you should never be asked to make. So my request of all the women that I mentor and of all of you listening to me now is to always be you. If career success requires you to compromise who you are, to not be the fullest and best version of you, that has to be unacceptable. And we need leaders, men and women, who insist on building inclusive cultures, and we need company boards to require management teams to create them. And speaking of boards, Lauren Rivera and Ann Shepard recently reported data that shows that privately held biotech company boards have really a terrible record of gender inequality. 37% have no women at all, and women only hold 15% of the total board seats, and women of color only 3%. That's unacceptable. Isn't it about time that all of us who are major stakeholders of these businesses let these privately held boards know what we expect of them? Now, let me talk directly to the men in our audience, especially those in leadership positions who have the power to make decisions and change outcomes. And I'll start with a confession. For far too long in my career, I was comfortably ignorant of the additional challenges that women face. And to the extent that I gave any thought at all to gender parity, I assumed that it already existed. As far as I was concerned, I worked in a true meritocracy. I'm embarrassed to say that I actually believed that. Perhaps you did too. Perhaps some of you still do. Let's be clear. As men, we have much to overcome in our working lives. No man's career is a magic carpet ride to the top. It's not easy for anyone. But the privilege we enjoy as men in corporate life is that it's a familiar and comfortable place without the additional headwinds experienced by women. Headwinds that frustrate, that can stubbornly resist all the tenacity and the hard work and intellect that women bring to their careers. Those headwinds are real. And as men in leadership positions, I believe it's our responsibility to listen to the women sitting beside us, to educate ourselves, and to commit to use the power that we have to make a difference for this generation of women. That's the gift that mentoring has given to me. I started to really listen. And it's not hard to find our own motivations close to home. For me, it's to make sure that Alex, Alexis, and Andrea, the young women of my family, my beautiful 8-month-old grandson Colton, and my granddaughter Lily, whom I can't wait to meet next month, can all live in a world of greater opportunity than my own mother did. My mother, Jean, was a very strong woman. She was orphaned at 14, but she led her family, she led at work, and she loved her life. But like most women of her generation, her career opportunities were constrained by her gender, not by her talent or aspiration, and that's fundamentally unfair. We all aspire to equity. As Albert mentioned, equity is one of 4 values we have at Pfizer. Equity is our North Star, and equality of opportunity for all genders is a crystal clear equity issue. So I have an assignment for all of us men in pursuit of greater equity. Let's move beyond mentoring, as great as it is, to sponsorship. Sponsorship's about making a personal commitment to the exceptionally talented women around us. It means taking an active role in their careers and promoting women to the positions that they deserve. Because there is a highly qualified woman for every job we have in healthcare. Let me just say that again. There is a highly qualified woman for every job we have. And only by sponsoring women leaders to pursue these positions can we change representation at the top. And only then can we build more and more corporations meant for women as much as for men. So if you're a man in a position of power, please get involved. Join a Male Allies group. Be an active sponsor of the talented women in your organization. Do everything you can to make your hiring processes gender blind and insist on an inclusive culture where everyone can bring their full self to work, be heard, and be cared for. One thing I learned this last year is that nothing is impossible. Nothing. If we all lean into it, all genders together. If we can bring a vaccine to the world in 9 months, then surely we can put an end to gender inequity. Not in decades, but in this decade. Thank you again to the HBA for this incredible honor. I will cherish it always, and I promise to use this opportunity to advocate for talented women and equality of opportunity. Women like my mother, women who drive us all forward and are changing the world. Thank you.